Has the 4-2-1-3 been killed is a question I've been asking so much after the patch. Well, technically no. We're going to go over why you may be struggling with a 4-2-1-3 and the changes you can make to improve the formation to go back to the old style. Do you want to increase your win rate just before Team of the Season? We got the Division 10 to Elite Division series. All the videos are finally uploaded. We show you how to get from Division 10 to the Elite Division basic gameplay. No speed boosting, no mechanic abusing, no Travella at all, because we want you to get there just with basic gameplay to show you don't need to mechanic abuse. If you want a mechanic abuse, that's fine. But we want to show you how to play properly first and then show you what the pros do. What pros do is they use basic gameplay and then they mechanic abuse to get the top 10%. Not the other way around. They don't mechanic abuse first and then learn the basics. We go over complete in-depth tutorials. And don't forget, with my entire series, if you join now during Team of the Season, remember, if you don't get better after 1 month, we will refund your money. That is the nil guys guarantee. That is how sure we are. We've been running this for 4 or 5 years. We go over in-depth tutorials. We also go over pro gameplay analysis where we analyze the full professional player's game. We've got tutorials for everything, undefendable through balls, player locks, precision passing, precision shooting, everything that you could think of that goes beyond my YouTube channel. We've got the full defensive series, which defending series alone, just by watching that, I can guarantee you will improve. Patreon.com/no guys. Links down below in the description. If you don't get better after 1 month, just send a message on Discord or send a message through Patreon and I'll refund your money. That's the no guys guarantee. Don't believe me? Try it out. What have we got to lose? Less than the price for a KFC meal nowadays. Links down below in the description. The 4-2-1-3, it is still up there with being one of the better formations. I talked about the 4-4-1-1 that I made, and the reason why I made that 4-4-1-1 is because it kind of scales with the better player that you are. Without the CDMs, of course, it's going to be attacking. Those of you that use that formation as a defensive formation and you lost, it's because you didn't listen to what I said. You have to understand a formation without CDMs is always going to be unstable. And that is why the 4-2-1-3 is still the best formation inside the game. Still top 3 alongside the 4-4-2 and the 4-4-1-1. It's still the best formation inside the game. I'll repeat that again. The best formation inside the game. So why does it feel different? Number one, when you're watching this, it's now Premier League Team of the Season. Ask yourself, how many wins do you have and how many wins do you get normally? This is going to be the hardest weekend league. Maybe you might even be on the same wins, but I guarantee you it's the hardest weekend league. Another thing is, when the patch came out a few days ago, it was all to do with 95 depth. Now we'll go over 50. We'll go over whites on 50 in a second. So ignore that first down. But normally it was on 95. And what happened was a lot of people, I would say, between rank 7 and rank 3, there's quite a lot of people that just started the game on aggressive. So a lot of those players didn't know what they were doing. And then they're playing a lower depth. And then what they're doing is they're passing the ball around, playing even slower because they're used to the game pressing for them. So those players that were not very good in the first place struggled initially, but now they understand a few days later what's been changed. So that is why the games feel harder, because obviously it's the most competitive part of the year. So it's not the tactic that's the reason you're losing. It's because everyone else is playing serious. Like on my main account, I'm probably going to be playing serious. I've only started my first 4 games, 4-0. But I got until Wednesday. I have to rush. But you see what I'm trying to say? It's more of a serious time. So we'll go over the best of best layout, what exactly I'm using. Tomorrow, I'll just doing some fine tuning and tinkering myself. But anyway, look, that's the reason why. So look, the 4-2-1-3, listen, all you have to do is copy this exact template, okay? I'm going to tell you exactly what to change. Later on today, about 12 p.m, we'll have my regular tactics video. But this is the most important thing, okay? As long as these three players are like this, the left back and right back can either be fullback defend or fullback balance, okay? If you want to put them on fullback balance, that's completely fine. Fullback defend would be more of a defensive option. Let's say if you're using this formation to start the game or close the game out. You will see this tomorrow. We can use wing back if you really want to as well. Use what works for you. I've already gone over this a million times. Just stop copying. If you're watching this and copying codes without even listening, you're never going to improve in the game. No other content creator is going to tell you this, but I will. If you really want to improve, understand what each thing does and adapt it for your playstyle. Very, very important. Now, the CDMs are the most important part of this formation. There's no such thing as that box to box, and that you're basically restricted to either realistically deep line playmaker or holding. Either one of them is fine. I understand why most people like deep line playmaker, because technically it's the more defensive option, because I understand people say, oh, look, out of possession. Technically, they sit a bit deeper. When you have the ball holding, sit more forward. you can use deep line playmaker defend. That is completely up to you. This is what most people are using. Or if you're unsure and you're like, what the hell is everyone talking about? Just use one of each. Okay. So whichever one you want to use, that's completely fine. That's up to you. Now, the left wing and right wing, 99% of you will have inside forward balanced. 99% of you watching this video, that's what you need, an inside forward. Realistically, this is what 99% of you guys will be using. Nothing's been changed. Also, the way people are defending during Team of the Season, they're try-harding more. They're more conservative. They're not running out with their centre backs. So equally, you're going to be finding it hard to attack your opponent. Remember that. So equally, it's going to be hard to break in between the spaces. People are going to be running out as less, and they're being more conservative, and they're try-harding. So all those things, they accumulate and aggregate together, which of course makes it even more difficult. Now, inside forward balance is the best appropriate mix between attacking and being balanced. I would say the other 0.5% of you will be using inside forward attack. This is mainly for the top tier players here. I have to reiterate, this means that you're on your own defending. If you're playing that counter attack and you're comfortable with 2 CDMs and a back 4, unless you got your fullbacks on defend and you want to keep these players on stay forward, then that is completely fine. You're playing that counter attack style. You will know that, but that's only 0.5% of you. The other 0.5% will probably be on, or 0. Let's say 3% will probably on inside forward roaming, which is even more attacking, and they get their unique AI movement, which I really love. So realistically, for those you don't inside forward, it's either going to be realistically, and then other rest 0.2%, I have no idea what they're doing. But most of the time, look, you're either going to be on balance. This is the thing, and I think for most people here, I'd recommend balance. Now, do I use both? Of course. If this is an attacking formation, and you'll see this tomorrow, if I've got an attacking variation of the 4-2-1-3, I might use the 4-2-1-3 roaming or 4-2-1-3 attack, for example. It doesn't mean I'm always going to be using balanced. You should have a different. If you're just using one formation, you should be using. Okay, you got a 4-4-1. Let's say you're playing. Okay, let's just say hypothetically speaking, you got the 4-2-1-3. You'll have a defensive variation. You'll have a balanced variation. You'll have an attacking variation. You'll have an ultra attacking variation. Maybe on this one, you have them both on balanced. Maybe on this one, you have them both on one. Maybe one of them on balanced. Maybe one of them on roaming. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe on this one, you got both of them on roaming. Maybe this one is a complete different formation, like a 4-4-2. So it depends what you're making the formation for. Should you be using inside forward roaming in a defensive formation? Obviously not. So balanced, as I said, 99% of you will just be using balanced. If you do see inside forward roaming or attack on any top tier player, any rank 1 player, any pro player, do not copy them because you're not a pro player. You're not a top tier player. They know how to defend with just 2 players and their fullbacks. I suggest for most people don't bring the fullback out of position. For a top tier player, it's a bit different because they know when to take the risk. They know when to take the risk. That's the most important thing because you might run out with your right back. Oh, that's it, goal. But your top tier player would know, okay, you know what? I can take a risk here. I know there's a 99% chance if I'll win the ball. And even if I don't, I can still defend with my centre back and be a top tier defender. But most people will just fail there in that situation and fall down. Now, the only other thing that you could potentially consider changing here is this player here. Put them on a shadow striker or put them on playmaker. I see a classic 10 sometimes. I don't really like it too much. I'm not going to really comment on it just on today's video to keep it simple. But look, classic 10, it's up to you. But shadow striker and playmaker is really the ones to go with. Shadow striker, think of it this way. They're on stay forward. They're more attacking. If you want this to be more like a 4-4-1-1 with CDMs, I want to repeat that. If you want this to play more like a 4-4-1-1 with CDMs, you like the 4-4-1-1, but you want the CDMs, then most definitely go with this system over here. Most definitely go with this system. If you want your cam to come back, let's say you struggle defensively, then put this player on the playmaker. Equally, as I said, if this is going to be an attacking tactic, this will be a shadow striker. If there's going to be more of a defensive one, it'll be more of a playmaker. So do you understand that the tactic hasn't changed? It's the way that people have played. And that is why maybe putting this play on shadow striker after the patch is more effective. Give it a try. Yes, you might lose a bit defensively, but having that play on stay forward, you can have that more of an attacking threat. And also people using team press a lot more. I still think depth is a very I think 70 is still the way to go. If you want me to be honest with you, I think 70 at this moment of time is the way to go. I'm gonna be honest. I've been this week. I've actually even gone to like 31 against a really good player. But then he killed me with Travella, so we're back up again. I've been using team press alongside these lower depths. I admittedly, never used team press that much. I just had a tactic with the depth already applied. But after this patch, I've been making some changes because now team press, you can use it for a bit longer, although you do lose stamina. So 70 depth is the way to go, I would say, most of the time. But again, also here, remember this, if you're just using one formation, that's wrong. If you're using this as a formation where you're attacking and you want to use 70 depth, or maybe a balance that's more erring on a side of being aggressive and attacking, then that's fine. This should not be your depth to close out the game. I think this is a mistake people are making. They're just copying any 4-2-1-3 tactic, winning 1 or 2 games because they're facing a weaker opponent, then start crying after that it's not working. Well, if you use a high depth, it's not going to work. So the only thing I would say is I'm not going towards 95. I'm just using 70, or I'm using something like 45. 70 or 45 is kind of like the two that I kind of go around. So anything that's going to be a bit more of a passive, slower formation, want to close out the game, want to be a bit more balanced or cautious if I'm winning, I'm using 45. Anything that I'm starting the game with, I'm using 70. And for the build-up style, I'm still using counter. I do find that stamina from my opponents, I don't really notice that much of a weaker stamina. Maybe that's because it's team of the season players, or maybe people are not using team press as much, maybe. But I'm not really noticing anything for me to change any of those. So no, the 4-2-1-3 hasn't changed. It's a combination of people changing the way they play. It's obviously Premier League team of the season. The hardest team of this and Ultimate Team of the Season are the hardest 2 times in the year to play this game. Maybe you can argue Ultimate's even harder in some ways, but I normally say Premier League because of the lack of players that you have, but we could debate that. And I would say delay. This is when everyone comes back to the game. I got friends who not played this game for weeks. You know why they're back? Because it's Premier League tots. So that's just something just to bear in mind and something for you to very much consider. Anyway, so listen, if you want to get better at FC, come to my Patreon series. We talk about how to improve your defending, how to improve your attack. If you really want to improve during this FC 25, even just watching how to build up from the goalkeeper, made a video. We analyzed the pro player, Nicholas. Spent a good time analyzing that. We show you examples of how he does it and how he builds up like a pro. Just that video alone, I can guarantee it'll get you 1 or 2 extra wins if you do it properly, if you don't know how to build up in the first place. Check it out, patreon.com/Nil Guys. Links down below in the description. If you do not get better after 1 month, we will refund your money. That is the Nil Guys guarantee. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.